Ortega versus Rodriguez. This was such a good fight. Oh my God. I almost wish that Ortega wouldn't have finished it early because I just wanted to see more. The first round, Rodriguez looked incredible. He dropped Brian Ortega bad, and his striking was just beautiful. I mean, his kickboxing is next level. His front kick, the speed that he throws that front kick with is insane. His knees and the clinch looked amazing. I mean, the first round for Rodriguez was just beautiful. Ground and pound was fantastic. Ortega ends the round on top, and I'm like, wait, what's going on here? Second round, Ortega starts really turning it on. Takes Yair to the ground. Round 3, Ortega gets the submission. I thought it was a great performance. I think he's much more skilled, but Brian Ortega kind of reminds me of Nate Diaz a little bit. Brian Ortega is an absolute savage. That was savagery. Almost got finished in the first round. I seriously was watching that and I'm like, oh, Brian Ortega's done. You know, this is going to be a TKO for Yair. And then turns it around. He's definitely got a different fighting style. And I don't think there's a problem with it necessarily. I mean, it can have a negative effect on your longevity, I guess, you know, with getting hit and not having maybe the best defense in the stand-up. But at the same time, it makes for really entertaining fights. I don't know if he'll ever be able to beat a Volkanovski or even a Topuria, but what he could really do is capitalize on that style and capitalize on his heart. That was one thing that really drew people to Nate Diaz, is just the fact that he does not quit. And he could lose a whole fight and then somehow throw up a submission at the last minute, you know, things like that. I feel like Brian Ortega could kind of run with that a little bit. And maybe he doesn't get to a title doing that. I mean, you never know. He could. I just don't see it happening. You get a certain number of title shots, and then it gets to the point where it's like, okay, you're probably not going to get the belt. He may fight for a title again at some point. He absolutely might, especially if he can beat Evloev. If they end up doing a title eliminator, if he can beat Evloev, then he will absolutely probably be fighting Topuria next. Him versus Topuria, if they build it properly, could be a huge fight, which is why I think there has to be a title eliminator. There was a pretty good beef going on with Yair and Topuria, because Yair was talking a bunch of trash about Topuria leading up to the Volkanovski fight. If either Evloev or Ortega ends up fighting Topuria for a title, they're going to have to build it. Because right now, there's really not a story. I mean, Topuria just became champion. A lot of people thought Volkanovski was going to... I thought Volkanovski was going to hang on to his title. So I think we need to build it up. And I think the only way to do that is to do a title eliminator. I wouldn't be mad at either Evloev or Arnold Allen. I just think it would look kind of weird if somebody coming off a loss was in a title eliminator over somebody who's coming off a win. But the fight was very close. I do think the fight to make is Evloev versus Ortega. At first glance, I would probably lean toward Ortega. I think that if Ortega wins, Ortega versus Topuria is a much easier sell than Evloev versus Topuria, to me. Ortega's style is more entertaining. Plus, the trash talk would probably be excellent. If Topuria and Ortega fought, that would be fight of the night, absolutely for sure. I don't think it's ready yet. There needs to be a title eliminator. Evloev versus Ortega, and then the winner of that gets the next shot at Topuria. Because who else is Topuria going to fight? He's probably not going to fight Holloway. Let's talk about that. So Holloway versus Gaethje. Let's say Holloway loses to Gaethje, which I actually think a lot of people are sleeping on Holloway in that fight. I think that he has a major speed advantage over Gaethje, and I think there's a huge possibility that he could win just with his pace alone. If he loses, then where does he go from there? Does he keep fighting at lightweight? Does he try to make a run at the featherweight title again? I don't know. But I would like to see Holloway versus Topuria. That would be an incredible fight. But with that Gaethje fight being in April, I imagine that's going to be a war. It's either going to be a knockout or it's going to be a war. I don't think Max Holloway is going to knock Gaethje out, but I do think there's a strong possibility that Gaethje could knock Max Holloway out. I don't think he's ever been knocked out. Has he? No. Still never been knocked out. I couldn't remember. If Ortega and Evloev fight, then that's probably going to be over the summer, I would think. It's not going to be anytime soon. So what is Holloway going to want to do? If he wins against Justin Gaethje, he's got a strong argument for a title shot at lightweight. And I think that's what they're wanting to do. I think they're wanting to unify the belt. And to me, if I'm Max Holloway, he's already proved himself at featherweight. Let's be honest. He's had an incredible career at featherweight. I don't think he has anything left to do there. So why not just go for it and fight for the lightweight title? See if you can be double champ. Why not go for it? You never know. I mean, Volkanovski almost beat Islam the first fight. Full camp only for any of these, phenoms from Dagestan. Like, you need a full camp for that, I think, because they're very well prepared. And if you're not well prepared, you are probably going to lose. And I'm sorry I'm taking you guys on such a journey here with this, but I am trying to wrestle with this in my mind because I do think that it's a very complicated situation at featherweight right now. And as much as I would like to see Topuria be an active champion, I just don't think that's possible yet. I do think maybe later this year we'll see another featherweight title.